Dang, that filter didn't come on. Oh, Lord. Jesus. Oh, look a mess. It's going to be okay, though. Y'all, I'm in here doing my weave real quick. And I'm about to also update y'all on what didn't transpire in my life over the past 8 months and why I ain't been on here doing the hair content and kind of like my journey back into being a hairstylist full time. Y'all will never believe it. Okay, I did put up a story, I put up a I put up a YouTube video, kind of updating of where I've been at. But I know Instagram, sometimes a lot of people from Instagram do not go to YouTube, so I'm going to put it on YouTube too, just to kind of get my page back active, connect with y'all again. And also, I feel like it's worthy, my story is worthy to be told. I feel like everybody's story is worthy to be told, but it's just like insane, okay? So, y'all know that I moved to Georgia in 2020 during the pandemic. And that was a very impulsive move for me. Very impulsive move. I was just overwhelmed in Vegas. In 2019, I had got my first apartment. I was probably like 21 years old. And then once I got that apartment, my mom and my stepdad had moved to Texas. So like I have a lot of extended family out here, but that was pretty much it. That's all that I had as far as like my immediate family. And I got my first apartment. I had the salon suite. It was just overwhelming. My business was doing very well. I had my assistants, like stuff was going well. It was just kind of like I was feeling burned out because I had to rely on doing hair before, in a sense of for smaller stuff, paying my dues for sports or my senior dues and stuff, because y'all know I started so young, or like my phone bill. But that was the first time that I had to, like, outside of booth rent and business expenses, that was the first time that I had to do hair to survive. And it just felt very, it was very stressful, y'all. Salon suites are not cheap. We think rent is cheap. We think rent expensive now. Like, my rent was expensive back then. I think at that time my one bedroom was like $1,600, which everybody was like, why is you paying that much? But, I chose that apartment because it was in a safe area. And it was easy for me to kind of like get to my job from over there. So I ended up, like, literally right before the pandemic. It must have been some sort of like intuitive thing, but right before the pandemic, probably in January or December, I decided that I was going to get out of my salon suite and just sublet from another tenant in that same solo salon, to cut down my expenses and to make it to where I was able to do hair part-time instead of full-time, just to kind of give myself a chance to like decompress. So lo and behold, a few months later, like maybe that end of February, middle March, whatever, I'm taking some of my clients and they keep telling me, like, anybody who know me, y'all know I used to have my little flip phone. I would leave my iPhone at work. Like, I didn't have no TVs in my house. I didn't have any internet. Like, well, I had it, I just wouldn't I wouldn't connect my internet. I was just very like off the very off the grid, you know. But I remember my clients kind of telling me like, yeah, you know, they about to shut the world down, blah, blah, blah. So I'm like, what? Like, they're not gonna do that. If they shut the world down, like, that's crazy. Like, who would think something like that gonna happen? So, lo and behold, they locked us down, right? And y'all see me, like, mentally, I was so young, but the pandemic kind of scared me for a lot of reasons, and it wasn't the whole COVID thing. What kind of scared me about the pandemic is I'm like, is the world ending? Like, that's kind of the first crazy thing that happened in my lifetime, probably besides 9/11 and Y2K, which I don't remember those events, and you know, they didn't really directly affect us for real like that. But that kind of stressed me out because I'm like, oh my goodness, if the world ended today, would I really be happy with my life? Like, yes, I've accomplished so much for myself as a young person in this industry and just period, but I never really, I sacrificed a lot to be able to do this. I sacrificed my social life, you know. There's a lot of things that I did not do because I was so focused on getting ahead and doing this business. And I was just like, I kind of had almost like a mental, that was almost kind of like a little bit of an episode for me. Like a, I don't want to say manic. I think that's too dramatic, but that did stress me out. So with the lockdowns, that's when I decided to kind of go out of town to be with my family in Chicago. And then once I came back, of course, I had to finish out the last like month or two with my lease and in my apartment. And then once that was up, my mom told me that she was going back to she told me she was going back to Atlanta. And so I decided to go back and move back to Atlanta with her, right? So when I moved back to Atlanta, it was mostly just like fun. As far as just like catching up with people, catching up with my family. It wasn't until like probably, I moved there in June. It wasn't until that September maybe that I decided that I would try to start taking clients again, right? So once I decided like, okay, I want to start taking clients again. Well, actually, it wasn't even at December. It was probably the following December. I think I didn't work for like that whole year, just taking time to decompress. So that next, probably I'm gonna say September, not December. That next December was when I got back in the salon. I ended up working in a salon that I started in when I was much younger, and just relying on Instagram still, and also passing out flyers trying to get clients. It was going okay, like I was building some, but it still was just like, I don't know, like I was getting some clients, but I do like to, as much as I appreciated the opportunity to be in a salon, I'm kind of like particular with kind of the atmosphere I like to be in when I'm working and what I like my clients to be in, especially because I work mostly with like a lot of professionals. You know, I was just like, okay, I'm ready to go back into a suite setting, but I'm not booked enough at this point to do it on my own. So I was like, okay, let me try to find somebody sweet that I can sublet. And from there, I will hopefully build and grow and be able to get my own and just kind of start my business in Atlanta. In the meantime, I was taking some people in Vegas. Like, I would do pop-ups on occasion, and the pop-ups were really successful every single time. But I was just mostly focused on building there. So I'm calling around to different suites. I ended up finding a chain called My Salon Suite. And the owner answers, and she asked me, or I asked her, like, you know, kind of what the pricing was. And then I asked her if she knew anyone in her facility or at any of her locations that was looking to sublet their off days, right? So she was like, you know what, there is one lady. Let me see if she's interested. Let me connect you with her. So she connects me with this lady who's an older black woman. And she seemed cool at first. I really liked her decor. It was really cute. She sounded like she ran her business professionally. So we ended up making a little deal. And I moved in over there. Now, I remember before I got started, the lady kept asking me, like, is your mom okay with you working? Is this going to be okay? Blah, blah. And I'm just kind of confused because at this point, I'm probably like 23. So, like, I probably looked a little young, but I don't think I looked. I was just confused as to why she was asking me this. Like, I'm a grown woman. Like, what do you mean, is my mom okay? But I'm like, yeah, my mom is cool. Like, you know, I'm grown. I do my own thing. You know, yeah, I do live with my mom at this time, but I'm 23 years old. Like, what? So anyway, I'm like, I couldn't understand why she kept kind of asking me that. But she was cool. That was just kind of like the only thing. Now, when I gave this lady my Instagram, y'all, that's when the whole kind of dynamic started to change. I genuinely feel like the lady was hating on me. I really do. I felt like when I came in there, she probably thought I was just a regular old, like, you know, not to pop my, but you know, I'm gonna pop it a little bit. Like, I think she probably was thinking I was just like getting started, had no experience, you know, wasn't good at my craft. And that's why she was kind of little girling me. But once she seen my work and kind of seen, especially my Instagram was way more active at the time. I don't have a bazillion followers, but y'all know, y'all used to be commenting on my videos like crazy. Like, I had a lot of engagement. I felt like she was definitely hating on me. She started doing stuff to kind of make the experience not enjoyable while I was there. For example, like, you know, she had these rules for how to leave a room, which I always leave stuff clean. I'm a very clean person. But, you know, she started, like, leaving stuff dirty when I would come in. I would have to, like, clean up behind her, just different stuff. And I kind of just got to a point, I'm like, if you don't want me to be here, like, I'll leave. Like, I don't know. She was just giving hater vibes, very weird energy, which I'm not shocked because sometimes, and this is not all the time, some of the best people I've met in the industry are older hairstylists, but sometimes older hairstylists could be the worst people, you know, it just all depends. Some people feel like instead of trying to lift you up, you know, they're going to tear you down, and that was what she was giving. So I was just like, oh my goodness, like, I couldn't work there. I just couldn't find nowhere that was fitting for, you know, what I was trying to do. And as a result, like, I just feel like I couldn't retain the clients that I had because I couldn't be consistent. I couldn't have consistent scheduling. Like, it was just too much. Y'all, it was to the point where, yes, I kept looking for other spaces. Yes, I kept, like, advertising. But I remember, you know, it got to a point where I started offering free hairstyles and people wasn't even coming for free hairstyles. That's when I was like, okay, at this point, I don't know what to do. Like, I've been here for a year or two. not really working. Like my hair care line was popping at one point. I was able to, you know, kind of live off that. My online digital products and stuff was popping, but stuff just started. I just felt like everything for me out there just started coming to like a standstill. Like I was broke. I didn't have no type of momentum. Like, and the last straw for me was, I remember I had somebody who I knew, like I considered this person kind of like an older sister to me or a mentor. And they were, hi Sandra. They were, you know, kind of wealthy, and they actually had kind of a little company where they would give people like bridge loans and help people build their businesses and stuff. And these people had always asked me about investing into my business, but I was just kind of skeptical about it. So I was like, me and my mom was literally about to get evicted, y'all. And I was like, let me ask this person, you know, if they would still be willing to give me a business loan. This gonna be my last, you know, kind of, this is gonna be my last attempt at trying to make this work here. So I asked this person for a business loan, y'all. And this woman literally tells me like, girl, ain't you in Atlanta? Why you don't go work at one of the strip clubs? Now, if y'all know me, like if y'all know me, and if for her to know me, for her to suggest something like that to me, y'all, was just like really crazy to me. Like it was really crazy. And I was like, you know what, this is it. I did think about like trying to get into the nightlife though. So this dude I was dating at the time, I was like trying to get him, he used to go out to the clubs. I was trying to get him to try to give me a job. Like I was trying to just find something like a bottle girl, something like that. I could not find a job out there, y'all. Like it was to the point, and this is kind of what got me a little bit feeling some type of way, because like a lot of the lounges out there are owned by Africans, and I could not get hired at these lounges. Like it would be clubs that was catered to black people, but the owners would be Africans. And I noticed like a lot of the people who would work there, I noticed a lot of the girls was Africans. So it was kind of hard. The other clubs, I feel like it was kind of like, you know, everybody wants you to have an Instagram or have a big following on Instagram. So I just couldn't find a job. The one place I did get hired at, hey, Healthy Hair by Lala. The one place I did get hired at was Harold's Chicken, okay? Because I knew a guy whose cousin worked there. That was horrible. I only lasted there for like a week. It was just too unprofessional for me. And when it was time for me to leave, y'all, they never even gave me my money. They never gave me my little check for the training. That was the final straw for me, y'all. That's when I did like my last couple pop-ups in Vegas. And when I had came down here for those 2 days, both times, and made all that money, I was like, I'm not staying in Atlanta. Like, it makes no sense for me to be here. So I decided, this was mid-November. Hey, Jalen. I'm like, who is this? Talking about my cousin. Who is my cousin? Hey, Jalen. Oh, my goodness. I was like, I'm not staying in Atlanta. Like, this is not working for me. I literally made like $3,000 in 2 days in Vegas. And I'm going back to Atlanta to sleep on my mama in the air mattress in my mama's house, broke as a joke. I was like, no, ma'am, I'm leaving. So I literally put on my Instagram story. I'm like, and I know I look a mess, y'all. I'm doing my hair right now. I was like, is there anybody who knows, I need to do my eyebrows, I need to do everything. I'm like, is there anybody who knows anybody who's renting any rooms in Vegas? Because at this point, now my mom lives in Atlanta. I do have a lot of extended family here. My godparents are here. Like, I have a lot of cousins here. But I just didn't want to inconvenience nobody because I was coming so last minute. So that was kind of my first goal, was to ask around about renting rooms. I did not want to rent any rooms from any strangers. But unfortunately, nobody I knew was renting a room. Usually when I come out here, I stay with one of my, I don't call her my auntie no more after what I'm about to tell y'all in this story. I don't even talk to them no more. But my auntie, who was my mom's stepbrother, so they, like my mom's brother basically, they didn't grew up their whole lives together, and you know, I grew up with his kids my whole life. So I usually would stay out here with her when I would do my pop-up. So I asked her like if she was willing to rent a room, but she was like, no, I'm done renting rooms in my house, blah blah blah. So I'm like, okay. So the only person who had a room for rent was my older cousin, and my uncle, who I just told you about, his daughter. And I really did not want to move in with her because of her lifestyle, point blank period. Not to offend nobody, you know, but she is a escort, and you know, I never been around stuff like that. I just started going to clubs. Like, I only been to one strip club, and I was forced to go. Like, it was just very okay, well, let me know when you come. I just got a little, I'm out here, shoot. I just was like nervous about it, y'all. I didn't know how that worked. I didn't know if she had a pimp or anything like that. So I was just nervous. Also, like, I had stayed at her house a little bit when I would do my pop-ups. Her house was nasty and she had kids. So I was like, that was going to kind of be my last resort, but that was the only person who was offering me a room to rent. So I kind of thought about it for a little while, and I was like, you know, I don't really have anything to lose. Like, nothing has worked out for me in Atlanta. I need to move forward in my life. You know, I'm not getting no younger. I'm just gonna have to take that chance. So when I kind of came down here, I set up her mom was picking me up from the airport, and I asked her if I could kind of stay at her house for the first week that I was there. And I did that because I was hoping that I would find somewhere else to move before moving into her house, right? So they got a very toxic, dysfunctional family. I mean, I knew about it. I just didn't know it was to the extent that it was. Knowing people and hearing about how they live and then moving in with them and seeing it for your own eyes, it's just not the same. So I get to Vegas. She picked me up from the airport, y'all. As soon as I get in the car, it's just constant drama. I didn't like her attitude. Mind you, I told y'all, well, I don't know if I said that in this video. Prior to me coming, her mom, my cousin's mom was like, yeah, you need to come down here. I know somebody who work at the Fountain Blue, who they're opening up. They're looking for people. I can get you a job there, blah, blah, blah. So when I actually got to Vegas, y'all, she was like, oh, I never told you that. I don't know nobody who work at Fountain Blue, blah, blah, blah. So that was the first thing. And then, you know, she was like, as we're on the way to her house, one of my other cousins lives with her, right? So she was like, just so you know, Keisha, I'm gonna just say her name, Keisha. That ain't nowhere near the name. But she was like, and just so you know, Keisha is not in a good mood right now, so she might not talk to you. This is not the cousin I was moving in with. This was one of her sisters. So I'm like, okay. So y'all, when I get to the house, my one cousin, who she told me about, was not talking to me at all, which I found weird because she usually very easygoing, very cool. Like, it threw me off. And I remember I was on FaceTime with my mom, and I said, "Ma, look, here go Keisha. She not talking to me, blah blah." So she literally looked at my mom on the FaceTime call and didn't speak to my mom either. So I'm like, what? What the heck? So anyway, I am like, okay. The vibe was just very uncomfortable in the house, y'all. Very uncomfortable. There's so many details to this story, y'all. And I can't even, I would literally be here for 5 hours telling y'all this. But the vibe was uncomfortable there. Come to find out, I'll get to that in a second. So I immediately, as soon as I land, I had some appointments booked. So I would just, go to work and then come back. Of course, they doing their regular arguing and stuff that they do in that household. But it was like they was kind of trying to involve me in it, and I was just trying to keep my distance. So the week goes by, it ain't nobody who I found who has another room to rent, right? So I just have to move into my cousin's house. So when I move into my cousin's house, is her staying there, is my other cousin staying there, her brother, his girlfriend, and her kids. House was nasty as hell, first and foremost. And I was like, you know what? I'm not going to be able to pay rent this month. Let me just clean her house for her, just to show my appreciation for being able to be here, blah, blah, blah. So I'm cleaning the house. I kind of skipped ahead and forgot to tell y'all, her son, like one of her kids, y'all, is so bad. Like, so bad. Behavioral issues off the chain. And, I guess the week before I got there, they had an incident where, the police was called or whatever. So she kind of already had like a case on her in regards to that dynamic in their household. This was literally a week before I came. But she out of town, so I'm having to help her watch him and kind of also watch her other kid that she brought from time to time. I don't know. I'm trying to remember, like, she got 2 kids. One kid she just kind of would neglect. The other one she would take with her or leave at this person's house, whatever. And she was like, a few days after she was out of town, she was like, I'm coming back home. Can you watch this kid too? So I'm like, okay, but I gotta go to work on this day. I can't watch it this day, blah, blah, blah. Whatever. Anyway, y'all, as I'm cleaning the house, it's a big house. It's a reasonably sized house. And for the house to be that dirty, it was an all-day affair. I started also including my little cousin to help clean up, and his cousin that had visited too. It's just too messy. Anyway, y'all, so we all cleaning up the house. He got an attitude about it, blah, blah, blah. Why does he tell the grandma, my auntie, that I'm forcing him to clean up, blah, blah? It was just crazy, right? So now she feel a certain kind of way or something, and she's messaging my cousin, like, y'all, I don't even know. It was just drama. So this is what set it off. I forgot all about this. When we got to clean my cousin's bathroom, apparently her toilet did not work, which he knew. I didn't know her toilet didn't work. And he flushes her toilet, right? So when he flushes her toilet, y'all, it literally spilled out all on the floor. There was feces everywhere. And, he started getting nervous about it. So he it's like, I think he's like, oh, don't tell my mom, blah, blah, blah. So we trying to figure out, like, how to get the toilet together, whatever. She last minutely popped up, maybe, like, within that same day or the next day, and was like, oh, I'll be home soon. She telling him, I'll be home soon. Make sure my house clean, blah, blah, blah. So when she come home, like, within that next day, nobody obviously had mentioned to her about the toilet. So like, I think I told him to clean it up or something. I forgot what happened, y'all. I tried to tell him to get it together, and he must have, like, did not do it. And I feel like, in retrospect, I feel like he didn't do it because that relationship that they have is very toxic and just demonic. It's like the only time she really pay attention to him is when she's like beating on him or yelling at him or something like that. And it almost kind of made me feel like if he knew his mom was coming home and he know how she is, why wouldn't he? If I'm telling him like, okay, let's hurry up and clean, like I'm cleaning up, you need to clean up too. Why is he not cleaning up? I'm like, you know what? That must be kind of like programmed into him where he purposely sabotaged. Cause that I can't really describe if y'all get what I'm saying, but I feel like he almost that's how he used to getting attention, and it's like I don't know if y'all get what I'm saying, kind of like self-abuse. I don't know if you get what I'm saying. Anyway, she come home and she sees the bathroom like tore up like that, and I'm downstairs. I just hear her run, boom, 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 boom. Let me say his name is Kayshawn. They don't got no ghetto names. I'm just making this up. Kayshawn, get your mom down. Like going off of him. I'm like, oh my God, y'all. He run in the bathroom. He runs in his bathroom, locks the door. She banging on the door. Open up the mother. Like it was the craziest thing, y'all. It was the craziest thing, right? So now her brother come out the room because he trying to like diffuse the situation or whatever. And I'm like, I don't know what to do. So now they all trying to diffuse it, blah, blah, blah. She get like an iPhone charger and she trying to, I'm like, oh my God, this is crazy. The baby sitting there. This is how you know it's crazy because the baby, he's a toddler, so he could talk a little bit, he could walk. And he like literally laughing, like making the gestures, like whooping gestures, like he know what's finna happen. So obviously this is something that regularly takes place in their household. So that situation happens, and the mom comes and my other cousin comes, which is obviously his auntie and grandma. And they come and pick him up. I think they called the police. And so I was already supposed to go to my auntie house that day before this transpired to get the rest of my things. And now I'm like, oh my God, now I gotta go over here in the midst of all of this, right? So now my cousin, you know, in the room talking on the phone to her friends about what happened to her little boy, this boy she was seeing. He comes over with her. I go and take an Uber to my aunt's house because I had to get my stuff. And I come in the house and they over there talking about me. Like, yeah, ever since she came, it's been a bunch of drama. And I'm like, what? They was trying to blame all of that just transpired. I hope y'all did that. Okay, I'm good. They was trying to blame everything that just happened on me, y'all. Mind you, I told y'all the week before I came, like they already had an incident with the police. Like they tried to scapegoat and put the whole thing on me, and I said, "Oh hell no!" Like I forgot what they were saying downstairs. I forgot what they were saying. I don't even remember that. I forgot all about the situation until I was telling y'all. But I'm like, what the heck? So I get my stuff and I leave, and I go back to the house, and now my cousin there with this dude that she talking to or whatever, and we all just kind of talking about what happened, and she laughing and stuff. I'm like, oh my God. So y'all, now I'm there, and I'm just there. I'm still going to work. I'm just like, she like, yeah, you can have his room. He can't come back to my house. I'm about to throw out all his stuff, like, blah, blah, blah. So I'm like, okay. So she goes out of town again or whatever, and what happened next? She was like, well, you can just sleep in my room until I get back. I'm gonna do that whole room over for you, and then you could just have that room. Now initially I was supposed to be staying at her house for like maybe 5 months. That's what I had told myself. But at that point, obviously, I'm like, okay, this is crazy. So I'm going to work still, and then when I come back to the house, I'm sleeping in her room. So at this point, it's just me and then my cousin, her brother, and his girlfriend. Like, none of us are talking, obviously, because that's just how they are. They was just funny, acting, and weird anyway. But yeah. So a few days later, her son, the one that all of this took place with, he comes back to the house, and I was still trying to clean up the house, y'all. The house was disgusting. I'm literally gonna upload a video on YouTube showing the entire process of me cleaning her house. But he come back, and I still cleaning up. Why does he tell her that I guess he tried to tell her, this is like when I said like the whole toxic dynamic. He tried to tell her that I was stealing out of her closet or something like that. I can't remember what happened. But she obviously, this is what happened. I totally forgot about it. So at this point, he back, and now, you know, he's going back to school because I think this was kind of like, I don't remember. This was near Christmas though. This was in December. So they had some kind of like a winter break or something like that. I can't remember. Something happened to where, they didn't have a winter break. He had got suspended from school. That's why he wasn't home. It wasn't winter break yet. He had got suspended from school before I got there. That's why he was not at school. That's what it was. Totally forgot. So on his first day back to school, and also it's another little girl over there, my cousin baby daddy. This shit is so ghetto, y'all, like for real. My cousin baby daddy little girl is over there too, from a different situation. So I guess she got kicked out her mama. This was so ghetto. I guess she got kicked out her mama's house, so both of them was over there, and I think they didn't go to the same school. So she was in the house all day, and then he went to school. So when my cousin comes home that day, because now she's off on her little vacation, when she comes home, I guess she notices he wore one of her hoodies and he wore some of her shoes, because he's little, y'all. He in middle school. So now she going off about this. Now she going off about him. I told you, stay out of my room. Do not be wearing my clothes. I'm like, oh my God. So now this is a whole other thing. So that's when he tried to lie and say that I was in her stuff. That's what it was. I forgot about that. I was like, Lord, I cannot do this no more. Like, I cannot believe this. Da da da. So the final straw for me, this was a whole other incident. Now she goes back. She didn't go out of town the time she went to go lay up with this dude she was talking to. So at this point, I forgot all about this. So when she comes back, maybe this is like 2 days later, y'all, she asked me to do her hair, right? So she wanted me to do it at the house, but all my stuff was at the salon. The salon was not far from her house. So she like, well, what if I just Uber you? No. She wanted me to Uber to the dude house who stayed all the way on the whole other side of town. She wanted me to Uber and do a house call at his house. And I was just like, I don't know why. I just was like, no, I'm not gonna do all that. Like, you're not paying me. Like, I know you're not gonna pay me for the travel, and I don't know. It's another detail of the story that I'm leaving out that I'll probably try to tell y'all at the end or something, or if I do a part 2. But I just didn't want to go to his house. I don't trust people. I'm barely trusting her, especially after everything that's transpired. And I was just like, no, my stuff is at the salon. You know, just meet me there. So she comes to the salon. He drops her off. She brings her other child, the toddler, and now we all just in there. So we was all cool, you know, just doing her hair. And so actually that same day that she came, I forgot I had a oh no, that was a whole other, that was when I did my pop-up. So she comes, and so at this point, like, we started kind of late, so now we're the last people in the shop. Like, the owner did locked up the salon and everything. And now, you know, it's just me and her. So she started kind of like she started kind of rushing me a little bit. But she also asked me, she like, hey, I gotta go to work tonight. Can you watch the baby for a few days? And I was like, I'm not gonna be able to watch him for a few days because I gotta go to work. Y'all, she got an attitude about it. I finish her hair, she pays me. She takes the baby. Initially, she was supposed to take me home. She like, well, you need to find your own way home. You need to figure out how you gonna get to the house, blah, blah, blah. So I'm like, oh my gosh. So they leave me, y'all. It's literally like 11 o'clock at night. She completely left me at the shop all by myself in this dark plaza. And I'm just like, what the hell? Like, I just couldn't believe it, y'all. Like, I was like, from the time I landed here, I was just constantly under just stress and trying my best to still go to work, trying my best to still take clients. But I get to the house or whatever, and I just knew. I forgot to tell y'all, nobody had a house key. Didn't nobody have a key to the house. Her brother had a key to the garage door opener. That's how he would get in the house. But usually they would always leave like a door unlocked in the house. That's how her son got in the house. That's how she got in the house. That's how I had to get in the house. So that's why I used to feel unsafe at night, because her doors is unlocked. You know, it was just too much, y'all. Like, I could not believe this. Like, I couldn't believe this. This was just the most crazy thing I ever experienced in my life. So I just knew before I even left the shop. I was like, I pray to God this door is unlocked. Like, I pray to God. I Uber into the house, y'all, and she used to live in one of them gated communities with like the guards and stuff. So I finally get through the gates. I get through the other gate. I get to the house, y'all. None of the doors are unlocked, and now my Uber driver has left. It is literally like 11:30 at night. I am in a cul-de-sac by myself. On top of that, she used to live near like this little, it was kind of like a flood thing that looked like an alley. And I'm sitting there just outside by myself. Like, I'm trying to call, you know, to see where my other cousin at. He not answering. I call her, she calls him, and she like, oh, well, he said he gonna be home in an hour. So I gotta sit outside by myself for an hour. So I'm like, F this. Like, I'm tired of this. Like, in the way the conversation went, he like, oh, well, she needs to wait. Like, it was so disrespectful, y'all. You know, I was upset, and I said, you know what? Okay, I got something for that ass. And I said, you know what? I gotta go, because they got me out of character. Like, I would never do something like this. So I Ubered back to the salon. It was a restaurant by the salon that was 24 hours. And I called my mom and was just telling her what was going on. And so after I told my mom, she was like, no, you need to get out of there, blah, blah, blah. Go back and get your stuff, blah, blah, blah. So I what was going on at this time. It's some detail I'm forgetting. But, oh, I forgot about that pot of water. Let me heat it back up. So, it's some detail I'm kind of forgetting. But, I'm like, my mom like, you gotta go, blah, 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 right? So, I go back to the house. The door is unlocked. He's not there no more. He just came to unlock the door and left again. So, I got my stuff, and my godmom came and got me and my god sister, and unfortunately I couldn't stay at their house because my god sister, her husband was staying with my godmom. My other god sister stayed there. Like, they didn't have no big house. They had like 4 dogs in the house. It was just too much. But she let me spend the night there. So I reached out to somebody who I knew, who I mentioned earlier in the story. And basically, their daughter let me rent a room from them. And she was like, I'll have a room ready for you by Sunday. This how much it's going to be a month, blah, blah, blah. So I'm like, thank you, Jesus. Sunday comes. I finally move in the house or in the apartment. And when I get there, she like, yeah, so something. And I told her, I forgot what I said to her. She was like, oh no, it's only gonna be for a month. So I'm like, damn, now I gotta find somewhere else to go in a month. Now the problem was, I had a collection on my credit from the pandemic. My previous rent, I don't know why they would do something like that. Y'all know, right in the middle of the pandemic, I mean, right when it started, that same March, I owed for that May, I think in that June, when we went into the lockdowns. So they had me on the payment plan, and I literally missed one payment, y'all, and they sent it to collections. And when I was trying to keep with my payments, first of all, the collection agency, like, they wouldn't, like, they was just playing with me, y'all. To this day, they won't remove the debt. And I'm telling them, like, I'm not going to pay you if you're not going to promise to remove the debt. Like, that's not happening, right? So, at this point, I got to pay this rental collection. And now I got 30 days to move. Like, I'm making good money at the shop again. But the only way I'm about to... none of the apartments would approve me with that on my credit. It didn't matter what my income looked like. Nothing mattered. Like, all they wanted was, I can't do nothing until I bring them a letter saying that the debt is paid, blah, blah, blah. So I was like, okay, let me just go ahead and pay this little debt. It wasn't little. It was like $4,000, which, you know, yes, it's $4,000, but I also have to have a deposit.